We're going to complete the 3 questions on the bottom page 6. We did number A in class. I'll do it again. Take me just a couple seconds. Write down what you're given to start. We had 125.2 pounds. And we want to change it to kilograms. To do that, you need a conversion between pounds and kilograms. Up to your table, and you will see that there's a conversion right here that says 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. The unit, and you might find this helpful too, to put the 125.2 over 1 so you recognize that that number's on the top of the fraction. Might be helpful. I didn't mention that last week. On the bottom, I'm going to put what I want to cancel, which is the pounds. 2.2 pounds is the equivalent of 1 kilogram. So mathematically, when I'm going to multiply, I'm going to take 125.2, multiply it by the 1, which of course stays the same, divide it by 2.20, and that's going to give you an answer of 56.90909. Now don't forget, calculator answers and real answers are no longer the same. This original question had 4 significant digits, so I can keep 4 significant digits in my answer. So therefore 56.91 kilograms is the final answer, rounded to proper significant digits. Part B, change miles to kilometers. There's in fact 2 different conversions here you can use. Both will give you the same answer when you round. So if I start off with 4.75 miles, and I want to change it into kilometers, I need a conversion that has both of those units in it. Say I take the one on the top, 1 mile on the bottom, to cancel the mile in the original question, 1.609 kilometers. The way my numbers are arranged, I'm going to take the 4.75 miles, multiply that by 1.609, and then divide by the bottom, which happens to be a 1. If you do it that way, you're going to get an answer of 7.64275. Now the final answer, the miles will cancel. You're left with kilometers. Your final answer can have 3 significant digits. The 2 doesn't round up, so you're going to stay 4.64 kilometers. If you had chosen to use the other conversion factor, then I will show you that. If we use the other one, we're going to get a slightly different setup, but let's look at the difference. If I had used 1 kilometer on the top and 0.6215 miles on the bottom, on your calculator, what you would have had to have done, take the 4.75 times by 1, and then divide it by the 0.6215. You would have gotten 7.642799. Which, when you round to 3 significant digits, gives you the same answer either way. Okay, so pick one conversion and go. Quarts to milliliters. Quarts to milliliters, the most obvious conversion here is the one that contains both of those units. So 3.5 quarts is a fair amount of volume. 3.5 quarts. I'm going to use the conversion that says 1 quart. Put that in the bottom to cancel. Quarts on the bottom, quarts on the top. 946 milliliters on the top. 3.5 times 946 is going to give you a calculator answer of 3311. Now the final answer can only have 2 significant digits. So either you're going to write the answer as 3,300 milliliters with no decimal point, or 3.3 by 10 to the third milliliters. That'll work. Maybe you're going to change it into liters, but the question asked for mils, so these two are your best answers, but technically it's also equal to 3.3 liters because there's 1,000 milliliters in a liter, which we'll discuss on the next set of questions on the next page. The next 5 questions are metric to metric conversions. On your green table, you will find conversions metric to metric as well. I've cut that up and put it at the top of the page here. So those of you who've done physics, you will find this to be rather insulting to your skills. Those of you that haven't done math in a while will probably appreciate this conversion. Okay, write down what you're given always in the far left. You've got 16,290 meters, and you want to change that into kilometers. You've got to know a comparison between the two. So you set it up such that what you want to cancel goes in the bottom. Look at your choices. The second one down shows you that there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. On the bottom I'm going to write 1,000 meters. That way the other meters will cancel. On the top I'm going to write 1 kilometer. So 16,290 times 1 divided by 1,000. You multiply or divide by a factor of 10, 100,000, 10,000, whatever. It's really just moving the decimal point. You're going to move it 3 places to the left. You do your calculator if you want. But you're going to get 16.29 for an answer, and that unit will be kilometers. You should be able to do that in your head once you have it set up. But of course you can use your calculator if you want to. For B, you've got a mass. Grams to milligrams. If you scan to your list above, there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. Write down what you're given. 0.0834 grams. Change it to milligrams. You're going to set up so the unit in the bottom cancels. So 1 gram in the bottom for every 1,000 milligrams on the top. This time you're going to multiply by 1,000, or move the decimal 3 places to the right. So 83.4, and that has 3 significant digits, and that matches the question. For C, you've got a volume, 50 milliliters. You want to change to liters. This next one down says there's 1,000 mils in 1 liter. So 50 milliliters to start. 50 milliliters. And you want to change that into liters. There's 1,000 mils in a liter. So you're going to divide by 1,000 or move the decimal 3 places to the left. It's going to put you 0.05. And you only should have technically 1 significant digit in your answer, because there's only 1 in the question. 50 is only 1, so that is your answer, 0.05 liters. Cubic centimeters to milliliters. If you check out the options on the table, you will see that it says 1,000 cubic centimeters is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So mathematically you might do this once before you have a duh moment. 1,000 cubic centimeters is the same thing as 1,000 mils. So multiplying by 1,000 and dividing by 1,000, you should quickly come to the conclusion that 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So the answer is going to be 125 milliliters. The capital L is necessary for volume, by the way. Part E, the last one, milligrams to kilograms. There is no milligram to kilogram conversion directly. I mean, you could do it if you know your metric for sure, but with what I've given you, I should say, and limited skills, you'd have to do steps. 77,079 milligrams. You could change that into grams with what I've given you, because there's 1,000 grams. There's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. And if I stopped there, took 77.79 and divide it by 1,000, you would get 77.079 grams. But I want to go to kilograms. So I also use the next step. The grams has to go on the bottom to cancel the middle step with grams on the top. So I'm going to write 1,000 grams on the bottom. So the grams will cancel with this, is equivalent of 1 kilogram on the top. This is going to be a real test of your calculator skills, believe it or not. I want to know who's going to do it. I want you to try it, pause the video, and then come back and see what you get for an answer. Okay, so I hope you tried it. What I want to know is, did you do this? 77,079 times by 1, times by 1, divided by 1,000, divided again by 1,000, or did you do 77,079 divided by 1,000 and then divided by 1,000 to start? Or did you use brackets? 77,079 divided by, and then a bracket, 1,000 times 1,000, and then an end bracket. It could very well get confusing very quickly. The long and the short of it is you should get an answer of 0.077079, which I run out of room. The final answer can have 5 significant digits. So you can write it in standard form, 0.077079, or you can write it in scientific, 7.7079 by 10 to the negative 2. Okay, the point in that is I want you to see when you have two numbers on the bottom to divide. Do it in steps. You have to hit divide, and then divide again. Not divide, then multiply. You won't get the right answer. On the bottom means divide. On the bottom means divide. 3 questions here at the back. First one says commercial airliners fly at 35,000 feet. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. How many kilometers above sea level is this? We want to go from feet to kilometers. We don't have a conversion for that on our table. But we can go from feet to inches, and then from inches to meters, and then from meters to kilometers. Multiple step question. So why don't you try it and see what happens? And I'll do it. You can turn it back on. 35,000 feet on the far left. I'm going to change that into inches. So I'm going to use the fact that there's 1 foot in the bottom, has 12 inches. Then I'm going to change inches into meters. On my formula sheet, there's a conversion that says 39.37 inches is the equivalent to 1 meter. Then I can change 1 meter into a kilometer by saying there's 1,000 meters in every 1 kilometer. So again, pick up your calculator, do the math, pause it, and then come back. You should do 35,000 times 12, and then multiply by 1, multiply by 1. Don't do that, of course. Divide by 39.37, and then divide it again by 1,000. Your calculator should be saying 10.66802 for the calculator answer. That's in kilometers. Your final answer can have 5 digits, because 35,000 had 5 digits. So 10.668 kilometers is the answer. 10.668. Number 2, imagine that water is leaking from a container at a rate of 1.2 milliliters per hour. That's a conversion. If this rate does not change, how many liters are lost in a week? You've got 1 week at time. You want to change weeks? How much have you lost in a week? You know you've got mils per hour. So let's change weeks into hours. So we know that 1 week contains 7 days, and 7 days, of course, is a week. 1 day is 24 hours. So now, 7 times 24 is the number of hours that it's dripping. We know it's dripping at 1.2 mils in 1 hour. I'm going to take this conversion and write it with the hour on the bottom. 1 hour of dripping produces 1.2 milliliters of liquid on whatever it's at the floor. But then the last thing I want to think about is the fact that I'm asked for liters. How many liters? Well, there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So 1,000 mils would have to go on the bottom for 1 liter. Let's look at the units and see what we're going to end up with. Weeks will cancel. Days will cancel. Hours will cancel. Mils will cancel. The answer is going to be in liters. The calculator answer is going to be 7 by 24 by 1.2 divided by 1,000. 0.2016 liters. We're going to take that and look for significant digits. We really don't know. For significant digits, we have 1 week. So 1 week, we would presume that would be an exact. You probably can write as many digits as you want because we don't typically go by the conversion factor for significant digits. I'm going to leave it like that. Well, that's not a very useful number. If you think about that in terms of what that would be in milliliters, if we didn't do the last step, kept it at milliliters, that's really 201.6 milliliters. That's like a whole cup of water dripping down, say it's into your sink. That's messy. So significantly, it's something to think about. Get it fixed, I guess. The last one, number 3, just for some practice on conversions. How many 325 milligram tablets can be produced if you had a stash of 2.5 kilograms of ibuprofen? So say it was crack and you want to know how many tablets you could sell. 2.5 kilograms, you want to know how many tablets. That information right there is sort of a conversion factor. Write down what you're given to start. 2.5 kilograms. If I want to change kilograms to milligrams, I could do it indirectly by saying 1 kilogram is the equivalent of 1,000 grams. That's going to be 2,500 grams, basically. If I change grams to milligrams, in every 1 gram, there's 1,000 milligrams. So 2.5 multiplied by 1,000 by 1,000 is 1,000,000. That's a lot of milligrams. Now you need 325 of them for 1 tablet. I could take that information and write it as a conversion factor, and I could say there's 325 milligrams in 1 tablet. When I set it up like that, it's not necessary to answer the question. You could do it as an afterthought at the end. But basically, you're going to get your 2.5 million divided by 325. You're going to get an answer. You do 2.5 by 1,000 by 1,000, divided by 325. You're going to get 7692.307. You round to 3 significant digits, 2.50. This right here is 3 significant digits, so you're going to get, for significant digit purposes, which is dumb, but necessary, 7690, no decimal point, tablets. 7690 tablets. Really, you can get 7692. You can pocket a couple and sell them for a profit. I didn't say that. That's practice on conversions on Monday, or next class, whatever that happens to be. We're going to work on starting with a mole.